Hey guys, it's Erik with Empirical360, and today I'm going to be talking about what all goes into creating a Google Ads account. A lot of times our clients just think we just literally click create a new account, drop in some keywords, and run your ads. And there's actually a lot more than that, and we have just a lot of very specific steps that we take to ensure that your account is set up correctly and it can easily be optimized going forward. So we're going to dive right in. So the first step in creating an account is literally going to Google and creating an account, but there's a few steps in the beginning that are pretty crucial that often get missed. First is literally setting the time zone. When you set the time zone in Google, it has to be set correctly the first time and you can't change it after that. And so that's just really important when you look at your time of day data, which we analyze for our clients, and just overall reporting. It helps to have that correct the first time. And before we go ahead and build out a structure, before we start even creating ads, the first thing we do is keyword research, because everything stems from there. So keyword research is exactly what it sounds like. We actually use Google's tool, the Google Keyword Planner, and we look up specific volume estimates for the keywords that relate to your business. So if you're a plumber, we're gonna look up plumbing keywords and get forecasts so we can find the best keywords to add into your account. And a lot of times we find very insightful information here, because a lot of times what people think are the correct keywords they should target aren't the ones that are actually getting volume, or aren't the ones that are competitive from a paid perspective. So very important step, and everything stems from there. So after we have your keywords, we start to build out what is called your campaign structure. Over here, we segment our campaigns by device and by match type. We also have some videos on our Ad Nerd series that kind of explains the advantages to that, so check those out on our YouTube channel for sure. But when we segment out our campaigns like that, it adds a lot of steps for creating our account, because we don't just create one campaign and put a bunch of keywords in there. We create a campaign that is specific to desktop devices and specific to one match type, let's say exact, for example. We enter all those keywords into that campaign and do all the settings there, and then we create more campaigns off of that structure. So the mobile version, the phrase match version, the broad match modifier version, and so on and so forth. So once we decide on our campaign structure, and also each campaign is segmented by a grouping of keywords. So let's just use your home service business, you're a plumber. You'll have one campaign that is maybe plumbing, maybe one that is drain cleaning, maybe one that is specific to water heaters. So kind of grouping them by categories and then splitting them out by things that affect conversion rate and that we can allocate your budget effectively by, such as the devices and the match types that I was talking about earlier. So that's a really important step, and we decide that before we move forward, just so when we create the account, we get it right the first time. From there, when we're creating our first campaign, we set an ad schedule. So depending on if you're a call center, if you're an e-commerce business, local business, I'm sure you don't want your ads to run all day, or you do if you're like you're an e-commerce business. So we make sure that those are set correctly the first time. And this is often missed and ends up in almost wasted spend, because sometimes people get leads after hours, or things happen after hours and they miss the call. So that spend is pretty much wasted, and you're almost aging your traffic and your leads. So having that checked off in the beginning is key. We also set a bid strategy. So oftentimes we'll use manual CPC just so we can get the most control over our bids, and but there are a lot of other automated strategies that we'll consider as well. We set your location targeting, very straightforward, exactly what it sounds like, the locations you want to target as far as people you want clicking on your ads. We'll select an ad network. So this is deciding between a search campaign and a display campaign, and we do that for every single campaign. We'll select whether or not we want Google partners to be included in our campaign, and sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we'll start off with that and kind of just monitor the data to make sure that it's working or isn't working. We choose a delivery method. So depending on your budget and how aggressive you want to be, a delivery method is a great way to control how quickly you spend your money and whether or not you're getting the most bang for your buck as far as for budget allocation. And there's a video we also have on how to choose your delivery methods. Check that out on our Ad Nerd series as well. A really crucial setting, especially when someone wants to scale their account. In addition to that, we set the budget itself. So that's literally deciding per campaign how much we want to spend on that per day. SCAGs, and those are single keyword ad groups. What we do is for every keyword we have per match type, they each have their own ad group and set of ads per keyword and a landing page per keyword. And that's also, you'll see the landing pages in the next couple steps here. But that is crucial, since we're using search engines for a lot of our marketing. For Google Ads, relevance is key. And having single keyword ad groups we found is the best way to get the most out of the relevance from Google Ads. And there's also a video and AdWords as well for that. We make sure there are 3 ads in every ad group. And depending on when you see this video, I think today's August 9th, there are probably going to be a new Google ad format. So we always make sure that we're testing Google's new ad formats and getting those in there, because Google does favor your account when you do that, and will serve your account more frequently. So we'll always make sure that we're up to date on that. Phone call extensions and other extensions, just overall ad extensions, are really good to have in your account. And this is kind of our checklist for the bare minimum to have. There are others that we use, but it just kind of depends on your business of whether or not we use those. But at minimum, we put a phone call extension in there. That's just appending a phone number to all of your ads. We put call out extensions. Those are just really quick, pieces of text that'll add a little bit more content to your ad outside of just the typical description lines and headlines. We also add site links, which are, again, just add on more to your ad, and they're just a link to other parts of your website that could be relevant for the user to go to, or if they're interested in different topics, you could lead them that way as well. And then also structured snippets. Structured snippets are just kind of a list of items like services, catalog, and you can list those out, and you have to have a minimum of 3 structured snippets, or 3 items per structured snippet. So we make sure that's in there as well. Negative keywords. So what we'll do is we will try to, either if we worked in your industry before, or if you already have an existing account, or we just kind of discuss it with the business owners themselves, we'll get you started off with some negative keywords right out of the gate. Now, obviously in our optimization process, we're constantly adding those, but we will research negative keywords and make sure you're at least starting off with an advantage. And we'll create a list to put those in rather than putting them in each campaign. And what the list will do is allow us to pretty much leverage our negative keywords in a bulk way. From there, we actually do landing page development for our clients. That is part of the account creation process. And we actually have another video where I go into the details of creating a landing page. But we do create landing pages for our clients. That's one of the things we're most popular for in Google Ads, because a lot of other ad agencies, they just purely run your ads and they don't actually build the landing pages, but we do. So we get those created, usually specific to keywords, if that's something that we're able to do depending on compliance and if it makes sense. We also make sure that on your website or your landing pages, we set you up with Google Analytics. So if you don't have a Google Analytics account, we'll create it for you. We'll make sure it's installed on your website correctly. And later in the steps here, I'll talk about goal tracking that's associated with that. So once we install Google Analytics, we also set up something, if this is relevant to your business. A lot of our clients are focused on lead generation. So this is why this is a very crucial step for us, is we install CallRail on your website, and that allows us to get marketing specific information associated with phone calls and pump that information back into Google Ads for tracking. Another great topic, which we have a couple Ad Nerds videos on if you check out our YouTube channel. And a couple of the other steps associated with CallRail are making sure we set up a website number. So this is tracking phone calls from your website and landing pages themselves. And then we also set up a CallRail ad extension number, which is just to track our ad extension performance and conversions. We link our Google Analytics to CallRail just so we can also see our calls in there, and we set up goal tracking. So I know this might sound broad, but depending on the goals of your business, lead gen, sales, phone calls, maybe all 3, we make sure those are all being tracked accurately in Google if we can. Most of the time we can. We've done some really complex integrations with Salesforce, Zoho, CRM, systems that aren't even popular. So we really pride ourselves in being able to do custom software integrations just so our goal tracking is accurate and we're actually optimizing towards conversions that actually affect the bottom line of your business, not just clicks, impressions, or even leads, but most of the time we try to track to sale and offline conversions. We link our analytics to AdWords, so that is, enabling auto tagging, just so, all of our goals from analytics are being tracked in Google Ads and everything is working correctly there. We also, right out of the gate, create remarketing lists for you, just so whether you're doing any advertising right now, if your website has any traffic, we're leveraging those lists and we're building out remarketing campaigns based on those. Even if we don't start off with remarketing, at least the lists are building, so when we do want to leverage those are already ready to go. And then the last few steps here are add billing to the account. There's a funny little note there to add marketing by Empirical360. We like to take credit when we can. And then call rel notifications for our clients. That's just literally something specific to make sure that they're getting notifications on all their calls coming in. But that is, at a high level, the minimum that we do for our Google Ads accounts. There are actually usually a lot more steps just depending on the business's specific needs and our client's specific needs. But this is a checklist that we go through, and this just ensures that no matter what, when we launch a client, they'll have everything set up correctly, because minor details in your ad account, whether it be your ad schedule, your delivery method, your budget, those minor things can, if they're not checked, if they're not addressed before you create the account, can result in a lot of wasted spend. Thanks.